Hello, welcome back to the YouTube channel. I am Nick from Australia. Hope you guys have had a great Saturday, and it is currently Saturday night here in Australia, so I hope you guys are doing well. Welcome to the 2020 preview of the Canterbury-Bankstown Bulldogs. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. I'm not going to be giving any shout-outs in this video. I will be giving shout-outs in the next one. So, let's get into it. The best 1 to 17 Bulldogs side that I think would be best for this club going forward. So we'll go through the side. Fullback, Nick Meaney. On the wings, Christian Crichton and Remus Smith. In the centres, Dallin Watene-Zelezniak and Will Hopewade. In the halves, 5'8", Brandon Wakeham, halfback Kieran Foran. The front row, Aiden Tolman and Dylan Napa. The hooker, Jeremy Marshall-King. The second row, Raymond for Tyler Mariner and Joe Stimson. The lock and the captain, Josh Jackson. And on the interchange bench, Dean Britt, Adam Elliott, Fahaki Odkin and Lachlan Lewis. I don't know how to say Odkin's first name, but that's the best 1 to 17 that I would go with if I was Canterbury. I think they have a lot of potential in this side, but yeah, look, I just feel like Brendan Wakeham should start at 5'8". I think Lachlan Lewis is better off on the bench. He doesn't offer anything in attack except these big, stupid torpedo bombs that doesn't worry anyone. He doesn't have a running game, which could be a worry. So I think Lachlan Lewis would be better off coming off the bench and coming on and doing a bit of tackling, maybe a bit of dummy half football. Also, there is the possibility that Josh Reynolds could be at the Bulldogs, but if Reynolds does go to the Dogs, I would have Reynolds on the bench as that jersey 14. But in saying that, I wouldn't be surprised if he went into the halves and partnered Kieran Foran. I think it's a decent 1 to 17. The Dogs, I think Nick Meaney's a better fullback than a winger. I think Watene-Zelezniak's a better winger or centre than a fullback. I just feel like Nick Meaney is the future of the Bulldogs, and I think he's better off with the fullback, in my opinion. He's got pretty decent ball-playing skills compared to Watene-Zelezniak, who doesn't pass never passes. So that's a bit of an issue. So let's go with what the Bulldogs lack this year. I think they lack some strike out wide. Personally, I don't think they really have much strike in the back line. Obviously, Watene-Zelezniak and Meaney are some pretty good weapons, but that's about it. I think Hopewade is a solid centre, pretty underrated. I wouldn't say he's a strike centre, but he's solid. He's got plenty of experience, pretty good in defence. I think Remus Smith's got potential to be a better player, but he doesn't seem to get enough of the ball. And Christian Crichton is just a good young player coming through. I'm not sure how good he's going to get, but yeah, he's not a bad player. I think they lack a bit of strike out there. I think they really need to go to the open market and look for another strike player in that side. I think maybe a strike centre would be good and put Watene-Zelezniak on the wing. Maybe someone like a Tony Staggs from Brisbane, who's an absolute strike weapon machine. Maybe someone like Justin Olam as well from Melbourne. There's some options there. I think, they've got potential, the Dogs, but, without some strike out wide, there could be a couple of issues there. I think they also lack a really good hooker. I think Marshall-King's a good player, but I don't think he's a long-term hooker. I think he's a number 6 or that jersey 14. Come on and just play a bit of dummy half here and there, but I don't see Jeremy Marshall-King as an 80-minute hooker. I think he's a solid player, but he can't play 80 minutes of hooker for a whole year because it just won't work. I think the Dogs need to go to the market and look for a hooker, and having a look at all the hookers in the NRL, I think one that would be a good fit is the guy from the Roosters, Sam Verrills. I think he's going to be a bit unlucky at the Roosters this year and probably play on the bench and probably play that jersey 14. But if he went to Canterbury, he'd probably start hooker there, and I think he'd be a good fit at the Bulldogs if he was to leave the Roosters. Not saying that he will, but I think he would be a good fit at the Dogs if he wanted a change and wanted to start a hooker week in, week out. I think the Dogs also lack points. They don't have much points in them. the last couple of years, the Bulldogs would score maybe 12 to 14 points a game and just defend and try and win 12-10 or 14-8 or something. You know, they're not, the Bulldogs aren't the sort of side where they'll score 34 points and concede 28 or score 26 and concede 16 points. Excuse me. Yeah, the Bulldogs are the sort of side where they'll just defend. They don't give a shit. They'll get the ball, they'll kick it to the corners, and they'll try and wrestle you to death. The Dogs are war style. That's what the Bulldogs are really good at. Just kicking to the corners and defending and not really giving a shit about points. But I think the way the NRL and the way rugby league's played at the moment, you need to score probably at least 20 points a match to try and make the finals, because for and against these days is so important. And I don't see the Bulldogs scoring more than probably 16, 14 points a game, because they just don't have the points and they just don't have the attack to do that. They can defend and concede maybe 10, 12, but, you know, it's just a problem where they don't have much points in them. They need to get some points. I think Brendan Wakeham could be a good thing. I think Kieran Foran is also, they got some striking weapons, but, you know, when you only have a couple of strike weapons out there, not too much, it becomes predictable after a while, and teams figure you out pretty quick. But, you know, I think a strike centre, a really good dummy half, and maybe some depth on the bench. They need some extra forwards, the Dogs. You know, looking at their bench, Adam Elliott's a great player. He's got a lot of good impact in him. I think Dean Britt's a good signing. Odgin's not too bad, but, you know, next year they do get Luke Thompson from the Super League, the best forward in the Super League. So I think the Bulldogs will look forward to that, but I think they need another forward with some experience to really boost the forward pack. You know, Aiden Tolman's getting a bit on, to be fair. I think Aiden Tolman's days are getting numbered. He might end up on the bench soon, but he's an absolute warrior, Aiden Tolman. I mean, if the Bulldogs are looking for another experienced front row, someone that could really target is maybe someone like, what's his name, from Penrith. Someone like James Tarmo, but he's a captain of Penrith. Tarmo could be a good fit. Who else is there? Who else is there on the market? Or who's an old dog who could be a good fit at the Dogs? Someone like not Aaron Woods. So many players some experienced forwards who could really be good for the Dogs. Someone I had on top of my head. I'm just trying to think who it was. What's his name? Someone like Junior Paulo would be a good fit at the Dogs. You know, there's some forwards out there who could be a good fit at Canterbury, but, you know, they got a couple of issues that they could sort out. What do the Bulldogs gain this year? I think the signing of Joe Stimson and Dean Britt is actually quite solid for the Dogs. I think Joe Stimson's that really strike back rower who can run a line really well. Came out of that Melbourne Storm system, so he obviously knows what to do. It's just a matter if Dean Pay can get the best out of this bloke and, you know, build a good combination with Kieran Foran or someone, whoever's next to Kieran Foran. But I think Joe Stimson is a good signing for the Dogs. I think Dean Britt could also be a good pickup for the Dogs. You know, they've got some good forwards, the Bulldogs, but they probably lack a bit of depth. But look, I think they gain some good forwards. Stimson and Britt, pretty good signings. I think Kieran Foran's the key to the Bulldogs. If they're going to do anything this year, Kieran Foran's the key to the Bulldogs' success. He's the game manager on this side. He's the halfback. He's the guy that runs the side. It's pretty much Kieran Foran's team. You know, I think they have some attack in them, the Dogs, but they probably don't have more than 3 tries in them a game. You know, most weeks they'll probably score somewhere between 12 to 16 points a game. It's probably what they'll probably average for when they play games. You know, the Bulldogs need to try and average about 20, 22 points a game. I know it's hard to do that in the modern era, but, you know, these days all the big sides are, you know, let's scoring 20 points a game and looking like a good side. But, you know, The Dogs only average about 14, 16 a game, but they need to probably average a bit more. I think they've got some good weapons here, the Dogs, but they haven't really gained too much. It's just a very similar side to last year. Then the only additions those back rowers, I hope Kieran Foran can stay fit, because when Foran's fit, he's one of the best halves in the game. He's a phenomenal player. I absolutely love Kieran Foran. Hopper White's a good player too. He's pretty underrated. He can do a job. Dylan Harper, big puppy. He's solid. Josh Jackson, great leader. Probably more of a lock these days than a back rower. I don't see Josh Jackson worrying the defence at the way he plays at the moment. He's probably more of a lock. But, I think they got some good stuff here, the Dogs. The predicted finish. I think the Bulldogs this year are going to be really hot and really cold. They're going to be pretty unpredictable. They're going to be similar to the Warriors of last year, where they win some and they lose some. They're going to be hot and cold, in my opinion. They should be all right. I hope Kieran Foran has a good year. I hope he can stay injury free. I'm a big fan of Kieran Foran, so I hope he stays fit. I understand he's got his life in order too, which is a good thing. Hopefully he can stay focused on field and lead this side to some really good things. They have a decent forward pack, a pretty average back line, not much quality. They lack a bit of quality. It's probably another thing they don't really have is quality. But look, overall, I think the Bulldogs are going to finish in 12th position this year, so probably mid-table, so not bottom 4, not really competing for top 8, probably just in the middle around 12th. I think if they had Luke Thompson, they might be finishing 8th, but, I don't think they're going to be really, really shit. I don't think they're going to be really, really good either, but I think the Bulldogs this year, they'll have their moments. They'll be unpredictable, hot and cold. I think they'll finish in 12th position, which is probably a bit of an improvement from the Bulldogs. I think they finished 10th last year. Might be a bit of a downfall year, but I think 12th, compared to the other sides that are fighting for the 8, in my opinion, I think 12th's probably a fair position for the Bulldogs this year. Anyway, guys, I'm getting out of here. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below about the Bulldogs this year. What do you think they'll finish on the competition ladder? I believe they'll finish 12th. And, so that's pretty much it for this video. Make sure you guys go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, share the video. Tomorrow night's preview will be the Sydney Roosters. Anyway, guys, I'm getting out of here. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Overall, I believe the Bulldogs in 2020 will finish in 12th position. I'm getting out of here, guys. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.